How can algebraic expressions be used to represent and solve problems? Think about this question during the lesson. An automatic dog feeder dispenses 2/5 cup of dog food each day. What expression can the dog owner use to figure out how much food is left in the feeder after D days? How can we use a bar diagram to represent this situation? You can draw a bar diagram to represent the amount of food remaining in the feeder after D days. This measurement line represents the full amount of dog food the feeder can hold. One segment of the bar represents the food dispensed each day, and the same amount of food is eaten each of the D days. But there's also a segment of the bar that represents the remaining food in the feeder. What expression represents the food dispensed in D days?
Select your answer.
The expression 2/5 times D represents the food dispensed in D days. So, what expression can the dog owner use to determine the amount of food left in the feeder after D days? Use the bar diagram to write an expression to represent the amount of food remaining in the feeder after D days. The dog owner can use the expression 20 minus 2/5 times D to determine the amount of food left in the feeder after D days. 20 is the total number of cups the dog feeder holds, minus the amount of food dispensed each day, 2/5 cup, times D, the number of days. Now that we've written an algebraic expression to represent this situation, we could use the expression to solve problems related to this situation.
Masumi started with $217 in her bank account. She deposits $25.50 each week and never withdraws any money. What expression can Masumi use to determine her account balance after W weeks?
So following the steps from the example, identify the things inside of our diagram. We have $217 that represents our initial deposit into her bank account. And then we have the $25.50 each week that she deposits, but we don't know how many weeks. So that's why there is a W to represent the unknown number of weeks that she made those deposits. So the expression is what they would like for us to create. So the expression, again, following the steps from the example, the initial deposit will be on the outside here, 217, and the number attached to the variable, this number here attached to the variable, we think if it's $25.50 each week, we know that is just going to be repeated addition of adding the $25.50 each week, and repeated addition is multiplication. So we're going to put the $25.50 times the W in that other blank space. And that is all we have to do because they don't want us to solve, just to write the expression.
The expression 9 99/100 times D plus 12 99/100 times C can be used to find the total cost of D pounds of almonds and C pounds of cashews. How much did it cost to buy 1 1/2 pounds of almonds and 2 1/2 pounds of cashews?
First, we will evaluate the expression. for the given values, total cost of almonds plus the total cost of cashews. Then we take the numbers and substitute that for the words we use to create our expression. So total cost of almonds was $9.99 per pound, and D is going to represent the total number of pounds, and so that's the unknown. So but we're going to multiply the $9.99 times the number of pounds D to equal the total cost of almonds. The total cost of cashews is $12.99 per pound, and C is going to stand for the cashews, the number of pounds of cashews that we don't know yet, and we multiply that again to find the total cost of those cashews. Then we are going to take the number of pounds here that they tell us, well, how much would it be if you had this number of pounds of this and this number of pounds of that? You take those numbers and you substitute them for your variables. So almonds were 1.5 pounds. You substitute D for that, and then the cashews was 2.5 pounds, and they substituted the C for 2.5. And then we have to evaluate that expression. So $9.99 times the 1.5 would equal 985 thousandths plus the $12.99 times 2.5 is 32 and 475 thousandths. Then you have to add that together and you get $47.46 to buy the 1.5 pounds of almonds and the 2.5 pounds of cashews.
The cost to rent a scooter is $15.50 per hour, and the cost to rent a watercraft is $22.80 per hour. Use the expression 15 5/10 times S plus 22 8/10 times W to determine how much it would cost to rent a scooter for 3 1/2 hours and a watercraft for 1 3/4 hours.
So let's identify our important information. So the cost to rent a scooter is $15.50 per hour. And the cost to rent a watercraft is $22.80 per hour. Use the expression 15 5/10 times S plus 22 8/10 times W to determine how much it would cost to rent a scooter for 3.5 hours and a watercraft for 1 3/4 hour. So that is nice that they already gave us the expression to use. So we're only going to substitute. So I'm going to rewrite the expression they gave us. So we start there. That should always be your first step, is to rewrite the expression and then substitute everything. So now the S is going to stand for the scooter. So it's $15.50 per hour, and they tell us here that they're renting the scooter for 3.5 hours. So now I'm going to rewrite this with substituting the S for 3.5 hours. And you know the parentheses around it means that we're going to be multiplying the 15 5/10 times the 3.5. And then we're going to continue the expression. And then we're going to have the W for watercraft that they're renting for 1 3/4 hour. So 22 8/10 times 1 3/4 hour. And so we now have to evaluate what is there. So you're going to multiply the two amounts for the scooter and then for the watercraft. 15 5/10 times 3.5 is 54 25/100 plus 22 and 8/10 times 1 3/4 is going to be 39 and 9/10, and then we add those two together and we get 94 and 15/100. But it asks for cost. Thankfully, there's only 2 decimal places, so the amount of that rental for both would be $94.15.
Malik and 2 friends earn $M in 1 week doing odd jobs. They split the earnings so that each friend gets 1/3 of the total earnings. Malik uses $32.50 of his earnings on lunch each week. Last week, the 3 friends earned $963. How much money did Malik have left after paying for lunch?
So we need to identify the important information. So Malik uses 1/3 times M, and 1/3 is the portion of the total earnings from each of the friends, 3 friends. That's why it's 1/3, because it's 3 of them. So they took 1/3 times M, which is going to represent the money, minus the $32.50. So for Malik, he had $32.50 that he used on lunch every week. So we're going to subtract that from the earnings. So then you have 1/3, and the money they all saved or earned was $963. So to find out how much of that money belongs to each person, you have to multiply by 1/3, which essentially is dividing up the $963. So, and let me just give you a visual of that really quickly. When you are multiplying a fraction, we know that a whole number is a fraction as long as you put it over 1. So when we are multiplying this, you multiply straight across. 1 times 963 is 963. 3 times 1 is 3. And then you divide. So that's why I mentioned that 1/3 times 963 is essentially dividing, because that's what you end up doing when you're using, you're multiplying a fraction and a whole number. So anyway, 1/3 times 963, since I'm already doing the math, 963 divided by 3 is going to give us $321 or 321, but we have the remainder of the expression to evaluate, which is minus 32 and 5/10. So we subtract 32 and 5/10, and that's how we get to the final answer of $288.50. So Malik will have $288.50 left after he pays for his lunch.
Amelia earns $8.74 per hour, plus a gas allowance of $3.50 per day at her job. How much does Amelia's job pay in a day when she works for 5 1/2 hours? Write an expression and evaluate for 5 1/2 hours.
Let's identify important information. Amelia earns $8.74 per hour, plus a gas allowance of $3.50 per day. The question says, how much does Amelia's job pay in a day when she works 5 1/2 hours? Write an expression and then evaluate for the 5 1/2 hours. So based on the very first sentence of the problem, she's earning $8.74 per hour. So we're going to put an H to represent the hours, plus, and it's so great that it's literally telling us what to do, plus the gas allowance of $3.50 a day. So $3.50. And we're going to do, let's do a G to represent that's how much gas per day. So now we have an expression we need to solve for the time of 5.5 hours. So we use a different color. We are going to substitute the hours with the 5.5 they gave us. So we have $8.74 times the 5.5 hours plus $3.50 per day for the gas. So G is going to represent 1 because it says how much does the minute job pay in a day. So because it's a day, that tells us it's 1 day. So she's only going to get $3.50 for that 1 day that we're solving for. So that substitutes to a 1. So now we're going to evaluate this. So $8.74 times the 5.5 will equal 48 and 7/100 plus $3.50. Then we add the two together and we get 51 and 57/100. So thankfully again for this one there is only 2 decimal places in our answer, and it asks for how much will she get paid. So Amelia will get paid in 1 day $51.57.